Hi guys. So this next exercise is going to help you to start self-analyzing and being able to see where your technique is deficient, where you need to add some extra work without necessarily having a training buddy there with you. We're going to be spending a few months training by ourselves, so this will be a really useful tool not only for our newer fighters, but also for our more experienced fighters. Because if you are able to self-analyze and see where your technique and where your fighting needs improvement, you'll be able to help yourself improve that much faster. And if your opponent can see it, you should be able to see it too. So we're going to start out with our mirror that we have here. We have our central focus here. Last week I talked to our newer fighters about Pell work, but if you don't have a Pell, that's okay. Any central focus will do. We're going to be using this central line as our Pell for today. We won't be hitting anything. We'll be getting right back out of range and throwing our cuts focused on that central line. So I've marked it much the same as our Pell, where we have top of the head, neck height, and there's a marker down lower which you can't see for the hip height. So I'm going to get right back out of range. The first thing that we'll be focusing on is we'll be doing our 1 to 6 drill as we would on the Pell, but we are going to be focused on our body rotation, so ensuring that our hip and core are engaging first in each of the shots in order to accelerate the sword out and cleave through our focus line. So today I'll be using my sword, although if you are one of our newer fighters who maybe didn't have a chance to get their sword and shield together before we broke up for social distancing, that's okay. You can use your ruler, or if you're in a small room and you're very worried about hitting something in front of your mirror, you can use just a basic ruler as well. The main thing we'll be looking at is our stance and our power generation at this point. So we are going to line ourselves up, get into our stance, ensure that we are out of range of anything that we're going to hit, and we're going to start our 1 to 6 drill as we've done the past few trainings, starting at 1 and moving through. So what I'm looking for as I'm moving through my Pell work is I'm making sure that I engage the body rotating first. So as you can see, my hip and shoulder are swapping over to supply the force first. I'm ensuring that my knees stay bent. And I also want to ensure that I am cleaving through my target. So as you can see, my hilt is on the opposite side to my striking point. So that ensures that I've cleaved entirely through that focus point. Right, now, as an extra visualization, which I can show you here, that I was talking about before during our footwork session, is foot position being extremely useful when it comes to our power generation. It can either help or hinder our power generation immensely. You'll be able to visualize it a little bit better here. So, if we imagine that our optimal power generation comes from this central point in our body, if I'm in my perfect stance with my toes facing forward and I cant my hip and shoulder back, when I actually generate my power by engaging my core and rotating through, I can actually cut all the way through my focus point, through to the other side from that start position, right? But simply by canting that back foot at 90 degrees, all of a sudden my hip is bound and I'm not able to cleave through the same way I was simply by turning that toe forward. So I hope that that kind of explains why we were looking at that in our basic footwork drills. But back to our Pell work. I think it was up to 3. So when I'm doing this Pell work, I'm ensuring that I am cutting through the Pell. I'm visualizing and ensuring that my body is engaging. I'm keeping a slight bend on my knees at all times. And I'm also making sure that I'm never fully extending my elbow, because I don't want tennis elbow. So, to summarize, we've just gone through doing our Pell work with a central focus in front of the mirror so that we can self-analyze and we can self-critique all of those techniques. I hope that this helps, and happy practice, guys.